Hey everybody, it's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Welcome to our show. Tonight is Tuesday, April 1st, and we have a great show for you. We have Leo and I have two of our best buddies on. Leo, hit that promo.
I'm a big fish in a small pond. Got my days free and my nights long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be. Who I am is fine with me. It's who I am. It's who I am. Who I am.
Welcome back. We are going live from New York City, as well as one of our guests is zooming in from New Jersey. We have California's in the house. It's really going to be a great show. So Leo and I, at the end of our shows, normally after our show is over, we chat for a few minutes and whatever, catch up a little bit, and then so last week Leo said to me, "Hey, do you have anybody for next week?" I said, "Not yet. I usually sometimes I plan ahead of time for a couple of weeks, and sometimes I have a pocket open." He said, "I want to bring a friend of mine on. We've been friends for a long, long time, and now we ran a camp together, and we're like brothers. Would it be okay?" I was like, "Would it be okay? It would be amazing." Yes, absolutely. And then as the week was going on, he also said we should bring on one of our other friends that kind of does the same thing. And anyway, one thing led to another. So, Leo, why don't you join me when let's talk about our discussion and how we invited our two wonderful friends.
About our brothers from Nutter Mutters?
That's what you said. You said that's what the show's going to be called. So you and I have a lot in common in that of course, we love the arts. We both work with kids. We love our coworkers. We love what we do. But also, I would say this, we both really respect people that we have performed with, that we have grown with, that we have become family with, theater family with. And we have that in common, that love for those connections. So I just if you don't do this or if you haven't, you don't always get it, like how these show families become your lifetime families. So that's kind of why you asked your friend Doug to come on, and then you said, let's get Chris DePierro to come on. That's perfect. And Chris, of course, said yes, as unless he's doing something, he always says yes, which I love. So tell us about your friend Doug before you zoom him in.
Our good brothers. It takes, it because Chris does it for you, and Doug has done it for me. You grow together, similarly doing some of the same things, growing, and then you work together, and you get to know each other, and it's unspoken. There's some things like sometimes I can be socially awkward and not want to do things, and Doug has found a way for me to participate while still like filling my role in certain things. And not a lot of friends know that about people or can do that or want to do that. And you know, um, besides all the, he is on a tour right now, kind of just a spring break tour, and
Mm.
a lot of the people that he mentioned that he was visiting besides me are people. They were kids when we met them, but people now that have grown up, have become
Mm-hmm. Yep.
respectable adults that lead in different ways, and as well as friends from the past that you have continual bonds with. Um, and so I was thinking about that, like, well, especially since he's coming up here on our Tuesday, and have him included. I'd love for him to share that experience of that, because we talk about that. We've had conversations about the kids that we've talked to, and with many
Absolutely.
teachers that you've had as guests. And I know that Chris, in the same field, has also taught, and he's a great, loving, big guy. That is another brother. So I thought it would
Yeah,
be cool for all of us to, especially since you haven't really got to meet a lot of my friends from the
I
West
know, and I
Coast as
love
well.
that. I love that that you had this great idea, and it's true. Like I bring most of the guests, and I mean, although you have brought many to me as well, and said, hey, this friend's doing this or
Well, we
that.
tend to know some of the same people.
We do know a lot of the same people. But it's really cool to me to have someone on the show that I don't have a past with, but I know I'm gonna love, and we did meet a little bit before the show, but what we have in common, whether we've met or not, is our love of theater and our
Mhm.
love of passing that love on to other people and inspiring younger generations that then grow up to do what we did or other things or just be good people, you know.
Well, I'll
That's
tell
what's
you,
important.
Doug is a higher range and a better singer than I am. So that's one thing I know. We do get harmonies together when we do get to sing. But
I
he's
love
been like,
that.
yeah, he's been like, um, this is ska. Was it a ska band that you're part of? But no, it was the '80s cover, right? '80s covers, and he's done a lot of acting. We actually have gone to the same country, though not at the same time, to perform in Cyprus. It's just really weird, but the connections are
Oh, I love that. You went to
strong.
Cyprus together too.
Well, separately, it's really weird. It's just like we've had a lot of the same places to
Experiences.
go with different experiences, of course, but it's just similarities that that we share. We're like, oh yeah, you went there too. Just even we remind each other in our old age as we get older
I
and
love that.
older.
All right, before we bring Doug on, let's check in with some of our regulars. Happy Tuesday, Maria, Leo, and What's the Story with Maria crew,
The alarm clock.
says Danielle, our
Something. Wait,
always our first one. Did we?
something's different about her
Yeah,
today.
she seems a
She's
year
a little.
older.
Hmm.
I think Danielle had a birthday yesterday.
Do psychics age though?
I know. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. They can go back in time. They can go forward in time. They're forever
Ageless.
ageless. And so happy birthday, Danielle Alexandria Alchemy. Danielle is our friend, but she also happens to be an incredible psychic, medium, spiritual guide. She does past life regression. She talks to the other side. She does spirit animal readings. And a lot of us have had the luxury of one of Danielle's sessions or more and been blown away. So do yourself a favor. Go and check out DanielleAlexandriaAlchemy.com and look at all the services that she provides. And you want to give yourself a nice gift, give yourself. I personally love the quantum session. That was, and I had a spirit animal reading too. And I purchased quite a few for my friends and family. So, oh, what's that, Leo?
I talk to my animals because of Danielle. She sent
Really?
me, yes, as a wonderful gift. So
Wow.
for that,
That's amazing.
we
That
were
is amazing.
we were talking about how I've been coming into my Sagittariusness,
Oh, I
which
love
may be
that.
scary for some people.
No, I love Sagittarians. I have so many Sag friends. They're fabulous. Lori Towers, right before Sag, is Scorpio. She is a Scorpio, just like Lynn Porter's genius. She's a Scorpio too. I would never miss our celebration of humanity. We are so glad you're here. We're going to have a couple of Lori's friends on in a few weeks. We're just trying to line up the dates. I'm very
Oh,
excited about that. John Pietro, Lori's
I
husband,
can't
has
believe I
joined us. What
don't
is,
have it on.
oh, wait. I know. I have mine too. Hold on a second. I have mine too right here.
I'm not wearing anything low cut today, so I didn't put it on.
Okay. So here's my beautiful chain. And I have the arrowhead. I
The
love it.
arrow. I believe that's the
Yeah.
Pocahontas that's been named.
Really? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is, but I love it. And I like a short chain.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty.
And the tomahawk is the Harriet Tubman.
Oh my God. So go to how do we find Lori's website, Leo?
You
She
go to
designed it.
lauritowers.net. Axe the Oligarchy. If you want to buy those, let me there. Oh, look at if you see streaming right below our names. lauritowers.net. Axe the Oligarchy. You can shop and purchase and pay
I love it. And it's
and
a
get
great
your piece.
website.
There's
It is a great,
swords, samurai swords, everything that women have used to axe the oligarchy.
and Lori and
And
John do a weekly show on Wednesdays. Tell everybody about that.
the Wednesdays at 10 p.m. or 7 p.m. if you're over here. Beneath the Underground on Sheena's Jungle Room on WFMU.org. Poetry, rock and music from the downtown underground scene.
Amazing music.
Amazing music. Amazing music. With some
Yep.
guest stars, the people that I know I may have heard on that wonderful
Mhm.
station. But also it's been very very vocal lately about the things going on, and I really appreciate that on my Wednesday
Yes,
nights.
it's absolutely important. Absolutely 100% important. Rena Crugnali Berge, my cousin from Massachusetts, who I love. Hello and happy Tuesday. She also says, happy birthday, Danielle. Rena knows Danielle. Rena and Tiana had a session. And oh my God, look who's here. Eugenia Mesa Dominguez.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, honey. You call her Senator Mesa.
Senator Mesa.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to check out her TikToks and see how she's axing the oligarchy her way.
Oh yeah, Judy is no joke. No joke at all. You don't ever have to wonder what Judy's thinking. She'll tell you. I love it. So I love you both, says Lori Towers. Thank you, Lori. We love you too. And thank you, Rena, says Danielle. Now, there's so much going on in the world, but we are staying positive here at and What's the Story with Maria?
Should we show a moment of love?
Sure, whatever. Yes, please. Oh, that's right. We're in April now. Today is April Fool's Day, but we're not playing any pranks on anybody because the world is ridiculous and clown-like enough. So this is Ivana and Lokai. They are a couple. They're really cute. They live together, and they're my customers at the duplex. And their mom has been on our show, or his mom, our friend Samantha Hammond.
Oh,
yeah, she is Lokai's mom. And so she's been on the show. She's very political as well. They did she and G did a fundraiser right before the election. But anyway, so this is the What's the Story with Maria, nothing but the apron calendar. And so Leo, I send Leo all these pictures of people and what month they want to be in. And Leo has the tireless job of combing through them and finding the best semi, you know.
Now this one was pretty. I had to say I was pretty touched with this one though.
Yeah,
no sweat was broken on this one. It was easy to see how just.
Although all the pictures they sent us were cute, for sure.
They're adorable.
They're adorable, and if you meet them in real life, they're even cuter.
I know a couple that could pose like that for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, now you're getting some ideas. So this is our apron. Our April people, and we still have calendars. They're $12. They're really great, and so you have plenty of year left to enjoy your calendar, and they're also fun to collect. So this is our fourth year, I believe, 2022, 23, 24, 25. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Leo, why don't you lead in, and we'll bring your wonderful friend Doug in.
I would like to, I think, bring in a picture. Let me see. There we go. Before I bring our buddy in.
What's
this
that?
Is our. Do you remember when on the Apollo when they go and they rub the stump?
Yes.
For good luck. So they had a wonderful idea of taking this wonderful symbol, and I know Doug's got a wonderful story, so I'm going to bring him in with it. And Doug, can you tell us the story of this wonderful?
First of all, let's introduce Doug. Go ahead.
This is Doug Cembellin, my buddy.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, guys. How are you? Hi, Maria. Hi, Leo.
Hi. So nice to have you. So go ahead, Doug. Tell us about this little tree.
Yeah. So from 2003 until COVID kind of put an end to things, I ran a summer performing and visual arts program that kind of grew and turned into winter camps and weekend retreats. And we had, I think, many thousands of kids who went through our program. and a lot of kids would perform on our campfire stage every single night. And one of our staff members one year made what we call the spirit stump. It's a nice, beautiful piece of redwood with our logo carved into it. It was then painted and lacquered. And when kids would come on stage to perform, both campers and staff, they always rub the stump for good luck. And we would always yell out at them to rubba the stumpa. Rubba the stumpa. And so anyway, that was a big piece of our lore, and that thing is filled with the good fortune and the good wishes and the good energy of like thousands and thousands of people.
I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. And the redwoods are, I mean, that's what California is famous for, right? For redwood trees.
Yeah,
how beautiful.
The region where we live up in Northern California, our camps took place in some really beautiful redwood forests.
Oh, I love that. And how did you and Leo meet?
Yeah, Leo and I go back to the early 90s in college, and we started by doing some musical theater together, and then we did everything from Shakespeare to contemporary American theater to improvisation. And having gone through college together as actors, when I started the performing arts camp, Leo helped me build it and helped me run it for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Wasn't one of our first shows the incestuous one night when we're all like actors and lighting designers and we're all running around and costumers? In our college, we had to do one acts, but we were the crews for them. And because we were a very small group of people, we were doing everything. You would be acting in 2 or 3 shows, costuming one, and then there would be 2 different weekends.
Well, I find that that's like the beauty of doing any kind of summer, because I did summer camp theater as a kid at Tufts College. So I went every summer for 5 years. And that's exactly how it was. That, like, if you were in one show and you had a lead, in the other show you were designing costumes or painting sets, and it kind of went around like that. And I love that because everybody got to learn different skills and got to understand what everybody's job was, and how important every single person in a production is.
Yeah, in our program too, it was mandatory that performers also put in you had to log a certain amount of hours in the costume shop and helping to build sets. Everyone had to strike the show at the end and tear everything apart. And
love that.
I don't know. I agree with you, Maria. Theater tends to be a unifying art form that brings everybody together, from designers to production staff to performers. It's I don't know. I still love it.
Yeah, me too. And the thing is, it's not just that you're doing a job. It's something you all care about. Whatever side of it you're on, you're all invested in it emotionally. And it's not just about your career. It's this, like, you can't describe it unless you've done it. It's this like electricity between people. And some of them you'll never see again, but you'll never forget them. That's the beauty of theater. You may never see these people again, but they will always be with you. It's phenomenal. It's just magical theater. So, Doug, did you do camps as a kid? Were you one of those kids that went to camps? Like, what gave you the idea to put together a camp?
That's a great question. So to answer your first question, the first time I went to camp was in 6th grade. The school that I attended in Northern California, 5th graders at certain schools, 6th graders at other schools went away for a 5-day, 4-night outdoor science camp. And I went to that and had a really good time. We got to be introduced to banana slugs and go down to the beach and hike through redwood forests and sing songs and play games. And it was just a lot of fun. Then in high school, I went back to a science camp, at this time as a counselor. Meanwhile, I'm not a super religious person by any means, but our neighbors across the street went to a church camp every year, and I played basketball with one of the kids. And so I started going to church camp, and for a few years, I love that every year.
Retreats. They were spiritual retreats. We used to go on them too. because I
Yeah.
went to
So
Catholic school. It's just fun. It's fun, and it's community. No matter what it is, it's community.
yeah, for sure. So,
Yeah.
and then when I got done with school, I acted for a while. Then I became a teacher. An after school program kind of grew and grew, and then became. I kind of left teaching to pursue the arts because I love being in the outdoors. So, and I liked creating my own schedule, and I wanted to develop my own thing. And so that's kind of how what was originally called summer drama camp, which then grew to be U camps. That's kind of how it all happened.
Oh, I love that. And how long did you do? Are you still doing that? No.
No,
I,
we did camps from 2003 until 2020. And then
right.
because we're a residential camp, we had 10 kids in a cabin. And during a global pandemic,
Yeah.
you can't do that. And so we lost 2 years. And in the camp world where kids are really going from sixth grade to 11th grade, you've got like this 5 or 6 year window. To lose
Yeah.
2 years, it was like we had to rebuild and
Hmm.
start over.
Yeah.
And between you and I and Leo and your audience, I was a little bit burnt out on camp. I had done camp for almost 20 years. I was in my 20s when I started the company. I was in my late 40s
Hmm.
toward the time that it was when COVID happened. And so I kind of allowed COVID to be my reason to take a step back and make a career change.
Absolutely. I get that. Sometimes like the universe shifts things for you,
No
you
doubt.
know? It just
And
says,
and
okay, go
sometimes
on to something else.
yeah, it's a great, it's humbling, and it's a reminder that when we let go of control and just trust that things are happening the way that they're meant to happen, that's when doors open. And then there's those times where we've been saying for a long time we're going to make certain changes and we just don't, and so those decisions are made for us.
Hmm.
You know.
Absolutely. So now you're doing a show?
Well, so I'm doing a variety of things. So I have a master's degree in film production. I went to USC in Southern California. I have a few different projects in different stages of development. And in the meantime, I teach film and acting classes at two different colleges up in the Bay Area. So that's my bread and butter is teaching these acting and film classes. And then my passion projects are these three films that I'm trying to get off the ground.
That's amazing. Amazing. And the thing is that our other guest tonight is very similar. It's a very similar kind of path. We'll bring him on soon, but I love this because right now I'm actually listening. I love audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I drive a lot and I don't always have time to read. But I'm listening to Charles Bush's audiobook. And he started off kind of as an actor, and then as a whatever he evolved into so many different things. But towards what gave him his Broadway break was writing. His Broadway break was The Alchemist's Wife. After years and years and years of being on the Lower East Side, and creating shows, and a cast of characters, and he'd play a bunch of people, and sometimes they were doing two shows at once. The cast would go from one theater, finish, and then get in a cab and go to the next theater. Like the insanity of actors, right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes. But it's been such a lesson, it's almost at the end of the book. And just like, and to feel him grow, I should say, to feel him grow as an artist and as a creative, and that's kind of what I'm hearing with your path. Like you start off doing one thing and then it kind of turns into something else, and then you're doing something else, but you have all that knowledge and it all comes together. So the
Yeah.
films that you're working on, what kind of films do you tend to do? Do you write them as well, or you tell me about the films?
Yeah. So the film that's furthest along right now is a film called Manzanita. If you can, do you remember the movie The Goonies from the 1980s?
Sure.
Group of kids, treasure chest, urban legend, caves, pirate ships, murders, like
Yeah,
childhood
yeah.
coming of age adventure. Imagine the Goonies set at a summer camp. They say that you should write what you know, and of course, I know the
Absolutely.
world. So that film is basically set at an old gold miners camp that thrived in the 1800s during the gold rush. And then when the waters were mined out, the camp sat empty for almost 100 years, and then a group of investors came and they've refurbished it into a child's, like a youth camp, similar to what Leo and I have run together. Well, there's this urban legend that Charleston Vandenford, the old money tycoon who ran the gold mining camp, that his private stash was somewhere in the mountains outside of the camp. And so a group of campers and counselors go on this adventure, and they discover little clues. And then of course there's the bad guys who are trying, like land developers who are trying to get the land out from under the owners. And in the end, they save the day. It's very much kind of like the Goonies set at a summer camp. That's one of that I'm excited about. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
So I'm excited about that. And then another one is called The Wolves of the Whaleback. It's based on an actual wolf population. The wolves were almost hunted to extinction. And then in the 1990s, they released a small pack of wolves in Yellowstone National Park. And over the last 30 to 40 years, they have multiplied and moved up into Washington, Oregon, and now into Northern California. And so this is based on a true story about this wolf pack and the battle between the local ranchers up in the northern counties of California who are trying to raise cattle. And one of the big ranchers there loses a couple of calves to a wolf attack. And so it becomes this kind of standoff between environmentalists and the protection agencies and the ranchers. And there's a love story mixed in there, like forbidden love, where the son of the rancher falls in love with the female environmentalist. And
I love that.
That's the second one.
I'm already hooked. Both
and I'll tell you the last one, I'll just finish with this. My wife and I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, which is a 2,650 mile continuous foot trail that goes from the Mexico-California border all the way to the Canada-Washington border. So you hike every inch of California, Oregon, and Washington. And anyway,
how long did that take?
Well, so we
right?
it took almost 8 months. Yeah, yeah. So we averaged about 15 miles a day. So you figure it took about 180 something days to hike 2,650 miles. And yeah, we lived on the trail off in a backpack, purifying our own water, hitchhiking into towns to get resupplied, hitchhiking back, hiking, living in a tent for like 6 months. And I filmed almost the entire thing, and I'm in the process of editing a feature documentary that I'm hoping to kind of get out there into some of the like nature film. There's a whole market of kind of National Geographic's Discovery Channel kind of film festivals and such. So those are pretty much my 3 projects.
That. I would watch that in a second. Every single thing that you've talked about, I'm sweet. Like, I would watch. I'm not just saying it to be nice. I'm serious.
Thanks.
They're all really interesting. Like, they got me right away. I'm like, oh, I would watch that. And as much as I love nature, I'm not around it a lot because I live in New York and I grew up in Boston. So, although we lived in the suburbs as well, but it's just nice and I am a huge fan of California. The few times I've been out there, I feel like I've transcended or something. It's like, I feel like I either lived there in a past life or there's just something so spiritual about that state. So now you're back for a little while where you and Leo are in the same neck of the woods.
Yes.
The same state.
Yeah. So I the colleges I teach at, I have a 2-week spring break, and because I went to school down here and we ran camps down here, I have a good amount of friends, but I live 6 hours north of here. So I just took 2 weeks and I've caught up with a bunch of friends, and Leo's actually my last stop. He lives in this beautiful mountainous part of Southern California. So I was just in the urban jungle of LA this morning, and now I'm up in this pristine cedar pine forest at 6,000 feet with a little tiny bit of snow falling. So it's awesome. We're just going to spend the night tonight. I was so excited to do your podcast tonight, and then I head home tomorrow.
And how? So you've already told me, but as two brothers, let's put it this way, as two brothers in theater and this connection, how would you say that connection that you had? I'm going to say goes back 25, 30 years, right?
Over 30, yeah, 33 years now. 33
How would you say
years.
that wow, that's incredible. That shaped the the rest of your life up to this date. How was something like that?
Well,
What is the
knowing
most
Leo,
important element?
I think just knowing Leo, I'm far stupider than I would have been had I lived a life where I didn't know Leo. But that's the hand that was dealt to me, and I deal with it. And no, I think Leo and I are just cut from the same cloth. We both love theater. We love the outdoors. We love sharing the arts with kids. We like infusing kids with creativity and self-confidence and a sense of acceptance and community. And I think both of us have lived our life through the lens of just sharing the arts and sharing it with our colleagues and our friends, but then also sharing it with kids. So that's certainly
So
the tie
beautiful.
that binds,
And you know what? I always love this statistic. They say that one positive life affects 7 others. So the ripple effect of of being a positive, a teacher, a leader, it is 7. So you touch 7 lives, and if they are touched and they are also equally open, they touch 7 lives. And it's like that is the beauty, the nature. Like you both are in California. When I think of California, I think of just how gorgeous it is and peaceful it is. And so think about how many lives you've touched and how many lives they've touched because of you. That's really cool.
I
You
agree.
know?
Well, I got married in 2019, and we had campers who came to our camp in 2004 who were 14 years old. And then they were 2004, 14, you add 15 years, they're like 29, 30
Mhm.
years old.
Yeah.
And we have campers who we probably 30 or 40 former campers at my wedding in 2019. And now I've been married 5 years. And I just hung out with some former campers who were 14 and 15 when I met them, and they're 37 and 38. One's a tenured track speech and debate teacher. One's a lawyer. The other one's on
Wow.
the TV show Survivor right now on CBS. Like it just
So cool.
these kids grew up to be these just amazingly eclectic and awesome human beings.
Isn't that
Like
beautiful? I
yeah.
know that the kids that I worked with, I'm a lot of them I'm Facebook friends with now. They're all over the country, but they have kids that are the age that they were when I met them.
That's it. You know the
It's really,
experience.
it's wonderful. It's really
When
wonderful.
those kids are so great. When I had moved to New York already, camp was still going on, and it was 2014 uh, that I decided that it was time to stop flying back and forth. But what made it bittersweet, because it was sweet, uh, bitter for me to leave those kids every year. That was hard. But the fact that they were taking over, and I would say, I would fly into camp and say, "Hey, I got to go do this," and they'd be like, "Paps, we did it already. Just chill out, Paps. We got it done." I'm like, "Okay, well, you did that. Let me go." No, Paps, you just flew in. Chill out. And they were running the camp, and they had been working with Doug, learning the ways, and taking over. And these are the men that he just visited that are just grown up to become wonderful human beings.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Maria, can I
Andy
ask you a
mentioned,
quick question?
of course, of course.
I don't. Is Tufts University in New York,
No, it's in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
That's where I grew up. I grew up in Massachusetts, and Tufts College is very close to Harvard College,
Okay.
which Somerville and Cambridge are right next to each other.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
just a very beautiful, liberal, uh, you know, a lot of education, a lot of culture, a lot of just beautiful people that come together. And I, I have very fond memories there. And I was one of those kids, Tufts College it's an expensive college, and their programs were expensive, but I was one of those kids. They used to audition kids. And so I auditioned. I didn't even know what auditioning was. I just went and like a cappella sang a song, and I got a 5-year scholarship. And
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
changed my whole life. Had I not gone there as a 10-year-old and stayed till I was 15, my life would have gone in a completely different direction. And so I was really, not that I would have gone down a terrible road. I would have just gone down a very different
road, sure.
But the road I ended up going down, and it had everything to do with that. And I have my dad to thank, because my dad is the person that got me into that. He said, you got to go on audition for this. And I was like, I don't even know what that was, but I just sang it. I used to sing at church every week, and he's like, you should do this. Let's get you there. And then if you pass, you pass. But I loved it. It changed my life. So that's why I asked you guys, like, I'm sure it did change all your lives, it did. So now Leo and we have these wonderful friends in common. And you've said so much that reminds me of my great friend, Chris DePierro. And we have known each other also about 25 years now, maybe a little bit. Yeah. And, oh, no, Chris. What are you drinking?
I was sitting here behaving for a half hour, and they caught me in mid-sip.
I know. Well, it's so nice. Everybody knows Chris
Timing
DePierro.
is everything.
Chris DePierro was, when I started doing this show 7 years ago. I think it'll be 8 years in July. Chris was my very first guest. And he helped.
Where's Leo? Leo, come on.
Yeah. He helped me with everything. He helped me with setup. And actually during COVID, we used to do everything in studio. People would come to the studio. And then during COVID, it was Chris we started doing like these kind of like just meetups on StreamYard.
Yeah.
And it was Chris's idea. And then Leo kind of took over and it just became this really cool thing. So thank you, Chris, for all of that. Now, Chris is also a teacher. He's a teacher as well and a filmmaker. So, and we did theater together. We have so much in common. It's just crazy. We met doing a show together.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, why don't you talk about your students first?
I just want to say, I just came back from backpacking across Russia.
No,
I'm
Yes.
kidding, Doug. I'm sorry, that was a joke.
I was like, what? That's awesome.
I know. Because
so
now
sorry.
what he's saying is, oh my God, I can't even imagine backpacking that much.
Oh my God.
And I said, like, oh, what did it take you? A few weeks? And you're like, no, 8 months. Can you imagine?
Over 2,000 miles, right? How many miles?
2,650.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Awesome.
we
awesome.
had no idea what we were getting into. I had gone on a 1 week backpacking trip in Yellowstone when I was 20 something, and my wife had done one overnight trip. That was it. And we just jumped on this trail blind and had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
Wow.
But it was awesome.
There's a movie right there. There's a documentary right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a book. So, Chris, what are you working on with your students now? Tell everybody what you teach.
I teach film production, TV production. We have a podcasting station right in the school, so the kids do all their own podcasting. But we just finished the project where they did their own music video. They had to pick any song they wanted. I don't care what it was, and just put images to it. Find them on the internet. Go out and shoot it yourself. Whatever image you want. I don't care. I don't want to give them too many guidelines because they were so motivated just because they had no guidelines. They would just said, put it together. And next thing you know, they're editing on Adobe Premiere Pro. And, and some of them are unbelievable. Mm-hmm. You're like, wow. And they're like, I said, you want to do another one? They do another one or something. So that's what I'm doing with the kids now. And it's really cool. And we're at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
How did you start the being in the film? Because I've always known you as an actor, but how did you get involved in film?
I got tired of auditioning, and I said, if I want to be in a movie, I have to make the movie.
Uh-huh.
And next thing I know, I'm starring in a movie. It was mine, but I was starring. Basically, that's what happened. I had a love for both of them. I wanted to act, and I got into filmmaking as my life went along. And now I do, as much as I can when I can. You're in Miami or Bust. A Hoboken
Miami Bust. Yeah, that's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, folks, it's called Miami or Bust, a Hoboken Bet. It's on YouTube, I think now, right?
It is not under that name, kind of, but I'm going to send it to Doug. I want Doug to watch it.
I can't wait. I will
crazy.
check it out.
It's like
It's
a cast of thousands, and
Yeah.
it's ridiculous in the best way. It's like
What genre?
madcap.
Three
Slap-
Stooges.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
Yeah.
slapsticky.
Slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
kind of, but real, like Tony and Tina's wedding. you know.
Yeah, and also was a lot of it improv.
No, it was scripted, but
Oh,
I
okay.
was like, just, say what you want to say if you want to add something.
Yeah.
I had people like Tony Patelis and, Jimi Hendrix, the right-handed Jimi Hendrix, a friend of ours. And, and scenes and John DeBenedetto. And I was just, no, I always had a script there for them to look at. And, it was great. There was a lot of room for improv if they wanted.
Yeah, but that's what you like as a director, like even with that small scene that I had, but you told me what you wanted,
Right.
but then you just let me go.
Yeah.
And then if we didn't get it, you just said, yeah, just keep going. Like we knew our points, but we were in a show together for many, I did the show for years and then Chris came in and did the show, but it's that's where we
I'm
met.
so happy we overlapped, Marie. You were my first friend there, the first person who was friendly to me. Not everybody was friendly in the beginning at Tony and Tina's wedding. It was a tough wall to get over.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of the show because it's a lot of tough guys, right? It's a show about Italians.
Yeah.
So a lot of those guys are like maybe they were first time actors or they really are like those characters.
Right.
So that there's a lot of like.
It's very Scorsese of you.
Yes.
Yeah. And everybody wants to be Tony. That's
Yeah.
what everybody's thinking. The
Yeah.
new person's coming in wants to be Tony. I was like, no, I just want to be in the show.
But
How many different roles did you each play?
Go ahead,
I
Chris.
played Dominic was my contracted role, and
Yeah.
Tony and Barry. I played Johnny once on an away gig, and who I played Sal, and I don't know, about 7, 8.
You were funny, Sal. Sal was the photographer who was kind of like always running around, but a goofball and making kooky jokes. And I loved Sal. I loved all the characters you played, and they were different. It's like
that was fun.
They were groomsmen, and the groom himself, and then the photographer. And now you said when you go and do it on tours, or for one overnighters, you play Tony's dad, right?
Yeah. Which is great because, you don't have to dance around too much and you can act like a wise guy to everybody and say what you want. Totally different show. Totally different show for me.
Are you ever going to be the priest?
I played the priest. I played a few times. Yeah. In the New York show. After I left, I came back and I played the priest. And I put my arms out, Maria, and ready to greet everybody. And I forgot my line. And I was just like, and then I remembered Jimmy and his cadence, and I remembered what he was saying, and it came back to me.
Right, that's what it is. So that's what it is. But anyway, we had a great cast, and then people would come in and out, like and then like you folks were talking about how the those of us that were young all of a sudden became the older, the
elder statesman. Yeah.
Yes, elder statesman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a nice
And so Chris, you have been working on so many different things, and now you're working on, have been for a while, this great series called that you created called Gavon's Produce, which is hysterical, but also it can be a little dark and scary, but it's also goofy, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of elements. First of all, how can people see the episodes? Or are we showing this? Yeah, maybe he froze. Yeah, but that's okay. So this is part of what Chris calls guerrilla filmmaking.
Yep.
Chris has done some crazy stuff over the years.
Oh, this scene is crazy.
Yeah.
You want to watch?
A little bit, yeah, whatever
Here
you
we go.
think.
Okay.
And then Chris will be unfrozen.
So apparently, I've been told this is Chris in the background.
You leave here. What did I tell you? I told you. Don't do this. What do? You do this. I say don't do that. What did you do? Malaka, you do that? I say, don't do this again. You fucking idiot. Malakismeno, das ist scotoso. Ilicia, flaca. Das ist scotoso de flaca. You fucking idiot. I'll kill you.
So the gentleman playing the cab driver.
Shut the fuck up. I promise I won't kill you.
So here's where it gets gorilla.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, my head is gonna explode. Now you're gonna get out, you're gonna get on your knees until I think of what to do with you. Shut up.
That is dark.
You think?
That is dark. Now
we had Chris on there. We were talking earlier before he got cut off, and I'm not sure. I'm sure he'll be back on in a
let's
second.
be back. Now the thing about if you see Gavon's Produce, and I've seen most of the episodes. I think maybe the last few I haven't, but it ranges from goofy to like just a bunch of like thugs to there's romance. There's what the beauty of Chris is that he uses his friends. So he will incorporate all his wacky friends. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the gentleman that was driving the car is Silvana's boyfriend. Silvana's a good friend of ours who's like a crazy comedian.
I'm so fucking
awesome.
Right?
You gave me such a great build-up. I was dying.
It's true.
I don't know. Did you do anything? Did you show anything?
Yeah, we showed
We showed the scene. It's very dark.
Show the execution.
Oh, yeah.
So this is getting darker now, or it's just one scene? That's you still have the lighter stuff in it?
Yeah, I kind of like Silvana, the beautiful Silvana Mastrolia, and Anna. I don't know if you saw any of the other scenes. Anyway, she shot that scene. She was on the camera for it.
Really?
But they're doing a lot of like sitting around a table discussing things scenes.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I'm like, no, I have to do something over the top on everything. Everything has to be a little bit crazy because that's why we're doing it, to do stuff,
Right.
So I guess it's going to get a little darker, but I don't know. We'll see. I have a couple ideas for the scenes.
Yeah. I love that you don't always know where it's going to go. Yeah. But Silvana kills me. She's hysterical. And she, talk about taking comic risks. Silvana, and that was her boyfriend, right? That was driving the car?
Yes. Greg that goes.
And he really is Greek. So.
Yeah. I was saying, just yell at her. Yell at me in Greek. Say I'm a bad word, whatever you want to say.
But I love the scenes that Silvana. So there's a balance. Like if you just saw that scene, I don't want everybody to think that that's all it is, because not that that's all it is. It's wonderful and scary, and it's like the suspense is crazy. But there's a lot of funny banter. There's a lot of flirtatious stuff. There's Silvana kills me. And then there's this stuff too. So it really takes you on a ride. Yeah. So where can they find it? Where can they find Gavon's?
They can find it go on YouTube and search on YouTube Gavon's Produce.
Spell it for everybody.
Yeah, and GAVONES Produce, PRODUCE. Has nothing to do with a produce company. They work for a produce company, but it's kind of like,
Yeah. Who works in produce and has forever is Annette Zito.
Yes, Annette Zito. I should definitely utilize that, but
whatever. That's what she does. One of her really good friends. Let me just check see what everybody's doing here.
Yes.
Okay. So Andy Limpus has said hello. Hello, Andy. By the way, Andy, I saw a picture of you the other day on Facebook, and you got even more handsome, if that's even possible. So I just thought I would call you out for that. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's even more handsome. Rick Sudi Caritas has joined us. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? What did you miss? You missed. Forget about it. I came to tell you.
Everything.
What did I miss?
I know. Sudi is going to be on our show again in the next few weeks. We're going to get him on. He's got a bunch of new projects. So I'm trying to schedule a lot of different people right now. And I have to get he will be on in the next few weeks. Bill Goffey, he likes that. Maria is the best. Me, I'm the worst. Oh, you're the absolute worst, Bill Goffey. Bill was so cute. He's the worst. No, last night he played a song for me on the piano and transposed it. He came to the rescue, thank God. Lori, not ever, honey. Bill Goffey, yes. Bill is he's the best. He's wonderful.
And I hear he's pretty handy with the screwdriver.
Listen, let me tell you something. Bill, I had a thing, a monstrosity that had to be built, and I was kind of in a panic. And all I did was text Bill and go, Bill, I'm a little overwhelmed. You have any time this week? And he goes, I'll come over right now. He was here like in 20 minutes. And he had to go to work after that. And he built the monstrosity, and then he went to work. So
and that's the monster.
And then he went to the monster, yeah. But, okay, so now, Doug, you're working on the movie. You're touring, right? Are you doing like a tour? I'm just
on a vacation tour.
I love that. But creatively, when you do that, right? Because I know I have to do that sometimes. What do you like to take in? Is it just nature? Is it other movies? Do you go to shows? Do you just hang with friends? What stimulates your creativity?
This trip specifically is just hanging out with friends. I was all over the place. Again, I know you guys are in New Jersey, New York. Am I right? Yeah. So, but maybe you know all of these cities. I started in Santa Barbara, which is a beautiful ocean.
I love
city.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah. So started there and then went down to Orange County, then up to LA, and then into one of the valleys outside of Los Angeles, and now up to the mountains. So I've been lucky in that my friends live all over the place, but what's been filling my heart and spirit and mind is just spending time with like really, really good people who have taken really good care of me, which has been nice as well.
Yeah, and
like the kinds of friends that understand that when you come to visit, like they're gonna like spring for dinner, even though you're reaching for your wallet. They're like, dude, you drove all the way down to see me. Like, I got this. It's just been like that for 10 straight days, and I'm not used to being treated like a pretty princess. It's been pretty nice.
Well, you're very pretty. I will give you that.
You should have seen the text when Maria saw the promo. She's like, he's gorgeous.
I did say that. So I do not regret saying that. You're even more gorgeous in real life because he sends me the promos. Thanks. Yeah. So Jill Crozian has said hello, Leo, Maria, and everybody. So Jill's up in, she's in
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. We have a lot of friends up there now. I'm going to take a trip there, I think, with my sister at some point.
I spent a week in Palm Springs one night.
You did?
Yeah.
A week in Palm Springs one night.
One night.
What did you do in that night?
We were at the Hard Rock.
Okay.
I was with Michael Perry, and we were kind of like RVing it through like Joshua Tree State Park, man. We went through Canyon Road.
Okay.
Gun Canyon Road. It was just an amazing road where all the canyons just came up on a San Andreas Fault. It was crazy by the Salton Sea, which is green, like neon green color. But anyway, that's why.
There's nothing like awesome. California, and
I loved it.
We went.
Beautiful.
We flew into San Francisco. Me and Judy and her best friend Marcy. One year, flew into San Francisco, rented a convertible, and drove down the Pacific Coast Highway. It took us about 3 days, and then ended up in Pasadena. And that was the most beautiful trip. I will never forget. It's still with me, and it was maybe like 8 years ago. It's just beautiful. It's like there's nothing like California. But Palm Springs is my next stop. And a friend of mine has a beautiful restaurant. If you ever go to Palm Springs, it's called Paul Bar. You've been there, right, Leo?
Yep. Met Paul. Yep.
And
it's great. Just like being in New York. I swear to you.
He worked at Joe Allen for many, many, many years. So it's very much modeled after the Joe Allen model, which is a great steakhouse in New York. Oh, by the way, Leo, I wore my Gulf of Mexico T-shirt tonight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Yes, I just thought, you know what? This is a great time to buy a Gulf of Mexico
Oh, it's so
T-shirt
great.
and enjoy
I-
it. Sometimes I wear it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and because Leo is our Mexican friend.
I believe that the Greenlandians, how would you call them? They restructured the hat. It said "Make America Go Away."
Yeah, the people who saw that.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Well, listen, it is definitely, you know, a very interesting time, but I also, it's a very stressful time. That's why I always say it is our time now. Now is our time as artists to absolutely concentrate on what we do best, and that is show other people the world through our eyes. So as filmmakers, please continue to do what you're doing, gentlemen. As teachers, we must continue to, even on days when we have nothing, you have to keep going because they look at you. Yep, they really do. And you know what I always say? I remember all my teachers, but I remember my favorite teachers the best. You know, and they didn't, even if they were having bad days, I didn't know about it.
That's
Right? So now I always like to close the show this way. Let's go around. What, baby?
Is there anything you got for us to
Oh
eat,
my God,
maybe?
the food section of our show.
I'm drooling over here.
I can't believe it. Okay,
I was
so
saying.
Doug, I always cook for the show. I try to anyway. Some
Right.
nights I'm at my girlfriend's and I can't cook there or whatever. But so I think food is important. So I am also on the keto right now because the Mac Awards are coming up and we're performing at them. So I had to figure out a way to drop 10 pounds. So I'm on the keto. So this is what I made. Chris, I think you've been on the keto many times.
Yeah,
So
sure.
So what I did was I took some pulled pork and I put a tiny bit of honey and then this ingredient that I love called smoke and cocoa. So what it is a little bit of cocoa and a little bit of cayenne pepper and caramelized some onions with some balsamic vinegar, some parsley, red onions, and San Marzano tomatoes I have here. And I put them on these low carb, actually zero carb tortillas. And Leo taught me how to toast the tortilla on the burner. And so that's what I have right there. So it's a little bit
Yum,
sweet,
yum, yum.
but good
Oh,
sweet.
it's amazing.
Yes,
That
it
looks
is
so good.
amazing.
That looks so good.
And then for a salad, I love salads. I'm a big salad eater. So I have Boston lettuce because I know Chris is a Yankee fan. I'm a Boston fan. So I always have to razz him a little bit with the
Go
Boston.
Dodgers.
Lettuces aren't nearly as competitive.
I know. So I have Boston, right? I have Boston lettuce.
Say Boston again, Maria. Say Boston again.
Boston.
I'm just saying you said it like 5 times so far.
I have to
Just get through it. Just get through it.
Okay, so I have Boston lettuce in here, and then I have purple
Red
cabbage.
sauce. What?
Shh, I'm talking purple cabbage. I have apples, red apples, and then I have
Like the big apple.
red onion in here, and I'm gonna put a delicious just balsamic vinegar, traditional balsamic vinegar, and Oh, you know what else I have in here? Shavings of Gouda.
Oh, Maria.
Yes, look at that.
That's good.
Beautiful. And I'm
Sounds
just
great
gonna
with your
put a
red
little.
stuff
That's it.
from Boston.
Yep. And then because I'm on the keto, I'd love to have a slice of cake, but I can't until I fit into my pants. So I'm having cantaloupe.
That's what I had the kids had for snacks this morning. They can't.
What, honey?
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe's good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cantaloupe. All right. We go around at the end of our show, and I like to ask my guests to please leave our audience with some inspiration, especially for bad days, when they don't feel like creating or they feel stuck. What words of advice do you tell yourself or do you tell others when you're having a hard day? Go ahead. Why don't you start, Leo?
When I'm having a hard day, I'm going to tell you something, Nilsson. I like to watch my favorite TV shows and laugh a little bit and get away from things.
I
And
love
I
that.
just binged a new favorite that takes place in Palm Springs, which is mid-century modern with Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer and the great late Linda Lavin.
Oh my God.
And the episode which they paid tribute to her made me cry, it made me happy and inspired. Next.
I love that. I love that. Chris, how about you? What do you
I
do
was
with-
just telling the kids today that they got to encourage themselves. They can't wait for other people to encourage them. You're your own best friend, and you got to push yourself along. And if you don't feel like you're doing a lot, you got to maybe call yourselves a couple of bad names in your head and say, let's go. What are you doing? And, it works for me. It definitely works for me when I feel like I'm not progressing or anything. I just get on myself really bad and I have that internal guilt. So guilt, use guilt as a positive.
Hey, listen, whatever
yes.
works. That's why I always ask people, because everybody's got different views, on this stuff.
Yeah.
And, so how about you, Doug? What do you think?
Let's see. One piece of advice and one little tool for the tool belt. So just remember to stay curious. Be curious about people. Meet a stranger. Have them tell you a story. Be curious about the texture on a wall. Be curious about the wind on your face. Just remember to be curious. That helps when you're an artist and you're not feeling productive. Just remember to be curious about something. It's pretty easy. And then the next thing is been working with a therapist for a couple of years. She gave me something that I'm really enjoying. She had me put 3 alarms in my phone, and I put the word anchor. And so I found a really pretty sound. And when it goes off, I'm supposed to stop and anchor myself. And all that is just whatever I'm doing, close my eyes and just like do a body scan from head to toe. Just take a moment to get present, take a few deep breaths, and just check yourself. Like, are you holding a bunch of tension? Are you worried? Are you in your head? Or can you just take a few deep breaths? Just check in with yourself. If you do that a few times a day, it really helps you to be more present more often.
Oh, I love that. No one's ever said that. You're something original.
I've been doing that only now for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I run it. I'm sure you can tell, a very high rate of energy, and it's been really good for me just to just chill a bit. So I recommend it.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. One of the things I've been doing lately, it's not that I intentionally did it. It just kind of started to happen because I like to watch series, and I find the writing part of things very, I'm in that head now, like the writer part. Mm-hmm. And what I've been doing is when something is stressing me out, I write the end to that script. So I say, okay, we're not in that part of the movie yet. We're in the really high tension part of the movie. Like even with the political climate, I go, okay, it's just a movie and it's going to end at some point. Right now, we're in the tension part of it. If I were writing the script, this is the way it would go. And when I run into characters in my life, like whatever they are, whether it's a plumber, whether it's a cashier, a gas station attendant, a really jerky person on the train, I make them characters in my movie. And I say, this person is a character in my movie. I don't have to ingest them. I don't have to take it personally. They're not going to be in the next episode. I've been doing that a lot, kind of writing the script, and it's been helping me tremendously.
Little mind tricks. Yeah, man. It definitely,
you have to.
It's not even like a trick. It's the truth, though,
It is the truth.
That's what's going to happen. It's not going to last forever.
No, it's
Some
not.
ESPN going on over there. I love it. That's you, Chris.
Yeah.
Let's get this ESPN update.
I love it. All right, so Mandar Chick Magnet has joined us. Mandar, we're so.
Oh wait, the Yankees hit another home run. Holy cow!
No. Hey, they've
Holy
been
moly.
Crazy amounts of home runs. Didn't they win 20-9 the other night?
Yeah.
Well, listen, we went on a little bit longer, but it's okay.
Yes,
Doug, I can't thank you enough. Wow, what a great pleasure to meet you and spend time with you.
Likewise.
Thank you for inviting your friend. It was like bring a friend to the show day, and Leo brought his friend Doug, and I brought my friend Chris. So thank you both gentlemen so much. Continue the great work that you're doing in the world. Leo, I'd be lost without you. And to our audience, please come back and see us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. If you miss us, you can watch us in repeat, where our show goes live on Facebook and also on YouTube, but then it's archived. You can go back and watch it. And if you want to listen to us in podcast, we're on all podcast platforms. Just go to whatsthestorywithmaria.com and click on any of the platforms and you can listen to us. We want to thank you and remember that we love and appreciate you.
Love you guys.
you.
Take care.
Thank
Good to meet
you.
you. Take